welcome back to the podcast. After nearly 6 months off, Time for Heroes is back, and it's a cracking episode to start with James Yates, the guitarist from Pastel. Pastel's debut album is out Friday the 17th of January, and it's a cracking listen. I've been listening the last couple of weeks. It's called Souls in Motion, so we spoke about that. Plus, we touched on the band's career, how they formed, getting signed to Jay Fender's record label, Spirit of Spike Island, and to the point where they, for Liam Gallagher's Nebworth gigs, so the chance to play their songs in front of 80,000 people at such an early stage in their career. We spoke about all this plus loads more, and as usual, at the end, James picked his heroes to come for dinner. Stay tuned for more episodes coming out soon, but until then, please tell your friends, keep sharing, liking, all that other stuff that we do with the podcast. Just keep getting the word out to people. Thanks very much. Hope you all enjoy.
Sky bursts through the sunlight in my way. The seasons look like changing.
On the podcast today, I have James Yates, the guitarist in Pastel. Pastel have their debut album coming out this Friday, the 17th of January, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Friday the 17th of January. It's a cracking album. I've been listening to it the last couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to go back and touch on your career and how you kind of got to this point. So what I like to do at the start, James, is kind of go back to your early life growing up, what your young life was like for you growing up in Manchester, I believe.
Yeah, so me and Jack, the singer, we're cousins, so our dad's a brother, so we kind of grew up with each other. I lived with my grandparents and Jack lived with my nan and granddad, his obviously grandparents. Both of our parents were drug addicts at the time back then.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we were young, I suppose you could say it was a bit mad, but we just loved it, to be honest. You know, being surrounded by all that madness and chaos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No one wants a bedtime when you're 10, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just we grew up in Manchester, sort of grew up through just loads of madness and chaos, but always loved, you know. That's like the main thing. I think that's why we're so sort of stable now, is because we had so much love.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was starting high school, my dad went into rehab in South Wales, which is where I live now. And then once he'd finished that, I moved to Wales then with my mum and dad near Swansea.
Right.
And then a few years after that, Jack moved down. It was kind of a mistake, really, because Jack was up in Manchester and he was getting to that age where he was starting to dabble in some like bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
And his girlfriend at the time was like, phoned me one day and she was like, it's starting to get a bit out of hand now. So I'm like, okay. And at the time, the Stone Roses were about to play in Wembley a few days later. So I thought, fuck it, I'll try and get him a ticket online and we'll just go, just to like get him away for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a ticket online, like off Facebook or somewhere. And then Jack got the train down from Manchester to Wales, where I live. And then I was going to drive us to London. And we got in the car, went to drive, and the fucking gearbox fell out the car, like 100 yards from the house, right? So like, what are we going to do? And at the time, we didn't like have the money to just get a train or anything. Especially on the day, it probably would have been about fucking 250 quid each or something. So we're like, fuck, what are we going to do? So we looked to get like a mega bus, you know,
Right.
like a coach thing. It was about £15 each. So we're like, about to do that. But that meant that the coach wasn't until like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, right, well, so we stayed up. And while we were staying up, I was playing the guitar and then Jack was singing. And I obviously, like, Jack's like my brother, but I didn't know he could sing. I'm like, where have you been keeping that? I was playing this Shaq song. Shaq's like my favourite band.
Mm-hmm.
We've both got matching tattoos now. It's on this arm. It says Hazy.
Right.
The song's called Hazy, see. And anyway, so I'm playing it and he was singing it. I'm like, I can't believe he can sing. This is mad. So anyway, we get the coach, go to London, and we go to the gig. It was mind blowing. We stayed in a brothel, which was a mistake, but we didn't know it was a brothel until we were in it, and we were like, "Fuck." And then when we were getting the coach home, because the timings had all been squaffed because of the coaches and stuff. When we was on the coach, I said, "Jack, what time's your train back to Manchester?" So he looked on his phone, and he was like about 20 minutes ago. And we were still in London at this point. I'm like, shit. So I said, look, stay in my house tonight, and then my dad will have to just drive you back in the morning. And then on the coach on the way back, we were like, actually, fuck it. We might as well just start a band.
Well, that's the fucking best way to start a band, isn't it?
Yeah. It was never like planned. It was all, I mean, we always used to say to each other, like, Jack would phone me and we go, oh, we should start a band. And I'm like, yeah, but Jack, you live 200 miles away. Do you know what I
It's.
mean?
I think I will at the time of that because I've always wanted to start a band. I don't play any musical instruments. I couldn't sing worth a fuck, but the it's a lot. It's a kind of gang mentality. It's kind of that's what I wanted. I wanted that, but once you're able to kind of do that and have the skills to actually can perform music as
Yeah.
well,
I was talking last night with Jordan, our tour manager, and he was telling me about this band that he knows, and one of the guys in the band, he's kind of like seems to be like the real driving force, and the rest of them aren't taking it serious.
hmm
And I said to him, I said, well, he needs to just fuck them off then. And he went, yeah, but the problem is, they're all really good musicians. I said, I don't give a fuck how good they are. It's like you've got to be. When we got Joe in, our lead guitarist, the old lead guitarist left, and he was a songwriter and stuff. And he left. He took all his songs with him. They were like that kid that takes his ball home when he's not getting his way,
hmm
that kind of thing. And we were like, right, when we're gonna get a guitarist in, I said, how he plays the guitar to me at the minute is secondary. I want to know what's he like with us. How do we all get on? That's the
hmm
most important thing. And it turns out he's the best guitarist that I know. He's unbelievable. But my issue was, what's he like when we have a beer together? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? What's his banter like? Is he a good crack? Can he
Yeah,
give it and
well,
can he
that's it.
take it?
There's no point in being the greatest guitarist, but he can't take a slag and he can't kind of fit in with the
Exactly.
carry on that's going on.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you mentioned, you and Jack are cousins. Are you both only childs?
No, I've got a sister, and then Jack's got three half brothers and two half sisters, but the two half sisters live in Scotland,
Right,
up near Fraserburgh, I think. Do
right.
you know where
That's
that is?
quite high up, aye.
Yeah, like is it Aberdeen and like
Yeah,
up again? Yeah, and then his three brothers, then they live in Manchester.
right. Just because, like, looking at you, so obviously, if you have grown up together, you do have that kind of brotherly
Yeah.
relationship.
Well, there's 2 years between us, you see. So my sister's 4 years younger than me. And now as we're getting older, like we've taken my sister now. She's like our tour photographer.
Right.
She's just been doing like a photography course. And like she's really good. But when you're like 15, 4 years is a massive gap. Do you know what I
hmm
mean? Because obviously when I'm 15, she's only like 10, 11 and stuff. So it's like you don't really want to be hanging around with your sister when you're 15. Whereas because Jack's brothers are all sort of like 10, 15 years older than him.
hmm
And his sisters, they're only like 10 now. So like in terms of the age wise, his brothers and sisters are like miles apart. So there's only 2 years between me and Jack. So it's a good
Yeah.
We basically are like brothers. You know what I mean? We live in the same house. We shared a bedroom for 4 years. You know,
And how does that dynamic help in the band? Does it work well, or does it ever
it
cause
does
any
work well. You
problems?
know, because I think it's been proven so many times, and it where brothers in bands it causes a lot of shit. But I think because it's like once removed and there's a little bit of gap, there's less jealousy involved into obviously like brothers. There's a lot of you know, like the whole like who's the favorite child and like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, you're probably thinking that your brother had it easier than you, or you pit like there's all that sort of shit going on in your mind, the subconscious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with us, with cousins, that stuff is taken away, and we just get on having a laugh.
Brilliant. So, forming a band, obviously, like the initial kind of you touched on kind of talking about forming the band, and kind of you got the new guitarist in and that. How long once you had the kind of lineup was it you started releasing music? Obviously, the first one I've got is 2020. She waits for me.
Yeah, so
Was
that was the old guitarist. What happened
hmm
was we had an old lineup and we've been going for ages, but it's never really seemed to go anywhere, and it was starting to get a bit dead. And then I met Jay Fender once at a gig, just by pure chance. I was having a piss in an alleyway, and he was like, "Oh, are you from Pastel?" Yeah, and got talking to him. He was in Swansea, he'd put a gig on, and the sound engineer from the gig had been telling him about Pastel, which is always a good like word of mouth is the best
yeah,
way in it. You know, you can read what you want online, but if someone actually looks you in the eyes and says, "Oh, listen to these," you're probably gonna do it. So anyway, talking to him, and he was on about producing a song, and we had She Waits for Me out already, but it's almost like a demo version.
hmm
Crap, right? And he sort of like reproduced it. And then this just created with the old guitarist, and the old guitarist was fucking amazing, right? He's a great songwriter, great guitarist. But to be fair to him, I think what he always wanted to do was do things himself. Do you know what I mean? And he's
yeah,
good at it, to be fair to him. But we were like, well, no, we're in a band. It should be like a band decision. And when he produced it and stuff, and we were like, oh, let's release this version. And he didn't want to, and it just created a lot of shit. So eventually, he ended up leaving. He's gone out. He does his own stuff. But I think when you're in a band, it's got to be about everyone, hasn't it? I mean, someone's got to be the leader. Someone has to make that final decision. But it's like you said, it's about being in a gang.
yeah,
So anyway, he left, and then like I was saying earlier, before we got Joe in, I said I don't. For a minute, obviously he's got to be very good, but before I know if he's any good, I want to know what's he like. So there's this guy that I know who's a guitar teacher, and I went for a walk somewhere and I bumped into him, and he said, "Oh, you know, are you looking for a guitarist?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know anyone?" He said, "I've got this one lad." He said, "He's young. He's only like 17, 18." He said, "But he's almost as good as me." And I thought, well, if he's almost as good as you, he must be fucking good. And to be honest, he's better than him. So anyway, I said, "Oh, send me his number." So we text him, and I kind of knew straight away because there was a few other people, and it was like I couldn't even be bothered to speak to him just by looking at him. I was thinking,
hmm
nah. And we never put anything out online to say we're looking for a new guitarist. We just said that the old one had left. And I'm kind of glad we didn't because we probably just would have been bombarded with loads of things, and it makes your life hard. Whereas Joe was kind of like the only one. So anyway, we got all the boys around my house. It was in lockdown season, so you couldn't go to the pub or anything. So they come to the house, got a load of cans in, and we got him round and we set some speakers up. And Jack brought like a big box of CDs in, and we just got pissed and was like, right, put music on, to kind of see
yeah,
what his music's like. And to be fair, his music taste it was nowhere near as diverse as it is now, but the foundations were good. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he was only young and stuff, and we were like, so his foundations musically were good, and he had a good crack. And we started taking the piss out of him, and he'd take the piss out of us, and it we just straight away we were like, yeah. And then we had a practice with him, like say a week later. We were like, this guy's just shit up, you know. And in the meantime, then when the old guitarist left, the label had said, and to be fair to the label, right, they could have quite easily just sacked us off. Think it's in lockdown, so nobody knows when you're going to gig again, if you're ever going to gig again. And we had no songs, so we were like, shit. So the label said, look, I can help you write some songs if you want. And we were kind of like, okay, but I don't really want to be in a band where someone else is helping write the songs. It's not it for me. But we kind of had no choice. And we're like, right, okay. Then one day, me and Jack put ourselves in the room and we wrote Deeper Than Holy and recorded it on the phone. It was just like me and the guitar and Jack singing and a phone recording it. And we sent it to Jay, and he just texted back and was like, "It looks like I don't need to help you write songs. If that's what you're doing straight off the bat, then I'll just leave you to it." So we established early on, because we were never allowed to write songs. You see in the old lineup, they'd get laughed at. So we had it in our heads that we were shit. But then we kind of thought, fuck it, it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously we established early doors that we could write a good song. And then we got Joe in, who was just exceptional. And then it just, in lockdown, every other band either stopped or just, they slowly faded out. It wasn't, most bands after lockdown, it wasn't long before, they'd either finish by the end of lockdown or it wasn't long before they were going to finish. Whereas us, we were just like adamant that when it ends, we were coming out all guns blazing. Like what we used to do was in Wales at the time, it would be illegal to sort of be together, but in England, you could. Remember, like the rules would all be different all the time.
Yeah.
So what we used to do is we get in the van. I bought a van, get in the van, and we drive to Hereford, which is like on the border of England and Wales. So be like, we just drive literally the first town inside of fucking England, and then we just book like a rehearsal space for the day, and then do you know what I mean? And it was that mentality of
but that's because you wanted it, and
yeah,
it's the thing. You get all these other bands that maybe didn't have the same work effort and the same drive and the same passion, but
yeah.
you clearly wanted it.
We
Obviously, as I say, I've been doing the podcast for that probably came about through lockdown. So most of my guests have kind of came through the lockdown, and
yeah,
it's lockdown's been a big help to these bands because it's like yourself, it gives you the time to kind of sit, write your songs, kind of hone your craft. It was like a good year and a half, really, wasn't it? It just kind of
yeah.
perfecting your sound.
Because we had a tour book supporting Affleck's Palace, and it kept getting pushed back and pushed back. Obviously, because we get told, was it the 21st of June or whatever it was, and then like
Yeah, it went to like September or something.
yeah, it was just all a lot of crap. But that was a good thing about when we got Joe in. I think if that happened not in lockdown, I think it could have been a completely different scenario, because I think we'd be panicking, and you'd be seeing lots of other bands, and you'd be going, shit, they're doing gigs and they're starting to tour now and they're releasing, and like you'd be panicking, right, we need to get someone in now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas because
Yeah, they put a lot
everything
of
was kind of
pressure
on
on you.
stop, it was like it doesn't matter. Just, do you know what I mean? I remember we went. We went for a weekend away with Joe. I think it might have even before we'd even told him he was joining. Because we were like, I think we went up to Liverpool. So it was at the time that now where like you could go places and stuff, but if you were like to go in a pub, you had to socially distance and
Yeah.
all that nonsense.
So, Ed, obviously, you touched on the label,
Yeah,
Spirit of Spike Islands Records.
yeah,
So, did they come on board early on then? Were they on board for that kind of debut single, or did they come on just after that?
yeah. They did She Waits for Me. So that's what I mean when we got with the label. and Jay, to be fair, he's great with us. And that was before the label we had She Waits for Me, but it was a demo version. It sounds nothing like what it does now. And we sent him the stems, and he kind of said, "Look, I'll produce it and redo it, and if you like it, we could do more together." It was kind of like a trial run, and like I said, we all loved it, but the other guy didn't, which is like that's fair enough. Because I think, like I said, I think he thought then that it wasn't all him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. If the thing is, when you're making art, like I'm happy if I have an idea of a song, the first person that I want to show it to is Jack and Joe. To be like, I'm almost like, right, I've got it to like sort of like 50%, and I want to give it to them because I want them to
To put
add their
your
bit
input
to it.
into it.
Whereas other people might be like, no, I want to do it, which is like it's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I waffled then. Yeah, they've been around since lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
And so, how helpful has that been having a record label early on? Because that's what I'm trying to do with the band now is kind of get a label involved. Obviously, does that help money wise and stuff like that? Or
Yeah,
that
it
also-
does. Yeah, and also Jay's been about a bit, so he knows what he's talking about. So he gives us a lot of advice. It's it's one of them though these days, though, where like right with your band, for instance, you shouldn't be like right. Obviously, like everybody wants to get signed, but with our label, it's not like there's no like sort of £100,000 advance and stuff. There's nothing like that. They pay for the recordings.
Mhm.
We all still work, but these days with social media, it's you've got the tools there to sort of promote yourself anyway.
Yeah.
It's just about doing it right and being smart. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, most labels, especially the bigger ones, they aren't interested in you until you've got X amount of followers and X amount of streams. They want you to do all the hard work. Do you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? They want. It's not like years ago where a label would get a band and sort of build them up and grow them. They want you to do that. And it makes sense because it's like, well, they've got the tools to do it, so why shouldn't they do it?
Yeah. I mean, that's so when I went to see the band, the first gig I went to, they played their first gig in March, and I went to see them. 'Cause I knew the guitarist for work. She's like, "Come and see us first, and we'll see how it goes." I turned up, and I got a full audience all wearing t-shirts. They'd made t-shirts herself, so I was like, "Right away, man, you get that fan
Yeah.
base to tap into." So that was me before they played the song. I was like, "Right, I'm managing you." And it's been a cracking journey this year. But like looking at yourself, obviously, because that's what we're guilty is. You look around at other bands and what other bands are doing. So how hard was that for you to kind of focus on yourself, or did that help having Jay there to kind of guide you?
Um, like I said, I think lockdown helped in a way because a lot of bands, we weren't looking at other bands going, "Fuck, how are they selling out that venue or how are they playing this fest?" Like, because none of that existed. But there was an element of to be honest, I use that shit to drive me. Do you
Hmm.
know what I mean? There was that stuff of like you'd be seeing someone else and you'd be thinking, "Fuck, how have they done that?" But then that's what I mean. That's why I text the boys and say, "Right, this Sunday or this whatever, we're driving to Hereford.
Hmm.
No excuses." And we're really grateful that we're all on the same page. We're all just as hungry as each other. I see so many bands. I was speaking to someone on the weekend and he was saying about, like his band just like they have member after member after member and like no one else can be as arsed as him. I think I think in most bands there's always in every band to be honest there's always one or two people that kind of drive it,
Yeah.
but it's very rare that all four or five or whatever are all just as hungry. And even with us, it's not even just the five of us in the band. It's like Jay, Jordan, our tour manager, Charlie Lightning, who does a lot of he loves us. My sister now that we take away to do photos. We've just employed a new sound engineer, another photographer. Onion. What it is because I, I don't know, but like I sense off all them people that they love it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they want it, and they like, and that's if you get someone in your van who's kind of like thinks they're doing you the favor. Do you know what I
Well,
mean? And you're driving around touring, and they're kind of like they're only there because you're paying them, or like that's like fucking get out my move. You're sucking the life out of me.
mhm.
It's got to be if you're not as hungry as I am, I don't care.
Well, that's it. Like, looking, I was right through your Instagram on Sunday afternoon, went right through it, and see looking at the people. Obviously, Jay's an athlete's palace, so he doesn't need to fucking bother with you. And but
Yeah,
obviously sees something. And when you
yeah,
get Charlie Lightning, that's worked with all these fucking massive artists. If he
yeah,
wants to come and work with you and do stuff for you, it's because you are doing something right. So if if all these people are happy to surround themselves with you, it's
exactly.
a good sign.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously 2021, the debut EP came out, and like listening to it now, it sounded like then like you were ready to go and record an album when you
yeah,
these songs and how well it was produced. And obviously you get early support for Robert Carlyle,
yeah,
who's is kind of he's constantly tweeted throughout your career now. He's a
yeah,
major backing. I see that his daughter's signed to
yeah,
Spouty
yeah,
Music
yeah,
Island
yeah,
as well. But I've seen Robert Carlyle do that with a few bands previous as well. So
yeah. He's
having
got a great
somebody like
music
that
taste,
kind of
hasn't
backing you,
he? Yeah, he's got a great music taste, hasn't he? I think.
yeah, I think it's because he's Scottish. I think
Yeah.
we've all got good
Well,
music taste up
do you know
here.
what, mate? I say this every time. Me and the boys always say it. Our favourite place to play is always Scotland. Every time,
Hmm.
because it's like I don't know. Like I always think about like Glasgow reminds me so much of Manchester. Like it looks very similar. The people, the vibe, like, everything about it to me is like Manchester. It's like the mentality is very similar, and we just love going up to Scotland. Especially we've only played in Aberdeen once, and honestly, I can't wait to do it again because when you go all the way up there, it's like people are almost they're just grateful that you've made the effort, and
Yeah,
they go mad.
this is it because if the further up you go, a lot of bands will not go that far.
Yeah,
So they're just they're grateful to have bands coming, and because of that, it ends up the audience are better, the audience are more into it, and then
yeah,
it makes for a better gig for everybody concerned.
yeah.
Um, where was the first place you played? I'd seen it was like up in Scotland. It was a garage, but I don't know if that gig happened or not.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it. I think the date got changed because of lockdown, but it was in the is it the attic they call it?
Yeah, I've seen Trampoline play in there
Yeah, oh, yeah,
last year. It's a cracking wee venue that.
yeah. It's good, isn't it? Yeah,
Um, so that tour kind of Bristol, Glasgow, Newcastle, Manchester, Nottingham, London, Birmingham. London, you played the Waterworks, which was kind of Oasis's first gig in London as well. So did you kind of was there a wee nod to Manchester with something like that? Did you even?
yeah. It was quite special to play there. There was other people as well, like I can't think off the top of my head now, but do you know if you go and if you look at some of the people that played there, there's loads of American artists
Mm-hmm.
that played like the first British gig there. I could be right in saying that Bob Dylan played there, but that I could be wrong. I don't know, but it honestly I can't think now off the top of my head. But you walk round it, and it's only a little bar. It's not massive,
Yeah.
but there's no green room or anything. It's just like a little sort of broom cupboard next to the stage. But yeah, it's just you walk round and you think I'm on hollow turf here.
talking about green rooms, because like unless you're in a band or been involved with a band, you'll have a different idea of a green room. Because I had an idea of a green room. I think that was a lot to do with why I wanted to manage a band. Because I thought, all right, I want to see these places. The King Tut's green room is fucking howling. You can get 5 folk in it, and then that's it. More.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, with the
yeah,
couches and that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's no as glamorous as people might think it is.
No.
Um, but I like so this EP. I mean, Deeper Than Holy. Within a few months, you were already hitting 100K streams. So that must have been another kind of sign that you were going the right way when you were getting such kind of big numbers so early on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
To be
then
honest, do you know when things like that happen, it's a great because we all doubt ourselves, you know. And then sometimes when something like that happens, it gives you the drive to sort of carry on, you know.
Mhm.
Good stuff like that. You need to celebrate those little things.
And then shortly after that as well, you get the kind of the Pretty Green campaign as well, which
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with at the start, and I was looking. I thought, I know that face. See with the curly hair and all
Yeah,
that.
Jack,
But
yeah.
I know that face for somewhere, and then it wasn't until I was doing or flicking through Instagram, and I was like, That's where," because I was on that website constantly buying stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was Jack, front and center in the Pretty Green stuff. And for that, you've also had a lot of kind of batting for Adidas as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's something that I would like for the band, so as we can get some free clobber. How does all that work?
I don't really know. The Pretty Green thing came through Charlie. He was meant to be doing an advert for them, and they like basically booked sort of like 5 models to do this shoot. And Charlie sent over his I don't know what you call it, like script board kind of picture board thing of the
Hmm.
advert. And at the end he said, "Oh, by the way, I don't want to use the models. I want to use this band because I feel like it'd give more character to instead of, like 5 sort of like catwalk fucking knobheads
Yeah.
in the advert. You want like a real life band because I think the whole point of the advert was to the whole point of Pretty Green, to be honest, is all very like sort of streetwear, real. Like
Hmm.
we shot up the first bit. I was running at like 5 a.m., which was a nightmare because we did about 10 takes and we kept having to redo it because it was just pissing down, like
Hmm.
really bad. So by the end of it, I was soaking. I'm tired, and it was freezing cold. And then just as we were like, "Oh, we'll just have to sack this bit off," and we started to pack away, it stopped raining, and we were like, right, just do it again quick. So I did it once. By that point, I was just like a drowned rat. And then the next bit, I think we shot in like a cafe
Hmm.
somewhere, and like and then Jack's walking across the football field, and then we're on like all these things are like very sort of real life things, and I think having like a normal band in it, like still cool looking, but not like catwalkers kind of thing, gave you that edge. Yeah, so that was through Charlie. The Adidas stuff, I can't tell you how that started, to be honest with you. But I know Sam Quelch, who works with Gary Aspen with all the
Hmm.
Spezial stuff. He's like a good mate of ours now. Through, I think we've met him at a couple of gigs, and then now we're mates. We text each other and stuff, and they send us stuff every now and again, which is always nice. All the dogs there, look.
Yeah, I get 2 of them trying to get up, and they're a pain in the arse. So I send me their number or something like that, and then
Yeah,
they can send me like a couple of pairs of trainers or whatever, man. So I towards the end of 2021, you played the Swansea Bunkhouse, headlined that. So
yeah.
obviously, like you've said through it about kind of grew up in Manchester, moved to Swansea. So what do you kind of consider yourself? Like, are you a Manchester band or a Welsh band or what? Or does Does it really come into
Um, I'm both. Depends where the funding is. You know what I mean?
it?
No. Like I'm Mancunian, right? That's never going to change.
Hmm.
But I've found a love for Swansea. When I first moved here when I was a kid, to be honest with you, I hated it. I hated it with like every ounce of my body, right? Because I don't live in Swansea. I live sort of like 25 minutes at west of Swansea, like in the arse and the nowhere.
Hmm.
And when if you've grown up in Manchester and then all of a sudden you get stuck in like rural southwest Wales, you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Um, but then, and I always said like when I turn 18, I'm moving back. And then obviously we started the band, so it was a bit like I can't move back now. Um, but I think as well, me and Jack were talking about this before, because we've moved away from Manchester, we have like we miss it. So I think that's why sometimes like our influences might be like the Roses or whatever and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's because we just miss. It's almost like a nod to it. I think if we lived there, we'd probably just like go fuck that off completely and go down a completely different route. But we just have a love for Manchester that I think you only have if you're from there and then move away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And the
It's
fact
kind of
is as well that there's so much of a scene there as well, so much kind of bands, kind of Manchester, Northwest area, it probably similar kind of age group and kind of stature as yourself. So you maybe get lost in that as well.
yeah,
So maybe being just kind of a wee stone's throw away is helpful.
yeah. When we go back up to Manchester, it's good because yeah, like I think if we're there all the time, you probably just get sick of it.
Yeah, there is
Do you know what I
so
mean?
much when you hang. Obviously, like you get the case fair in a bit there that are like they're smashing it. You get Rolla, I've had Damo on. Obviously Megan ran her guitar and she was talking about her boyfriend's band, the Rolling People,
Yeah.
Spangled. You get all sorts, man. It is the place to be, but I kind of been just slightly removed by that might just be helpful for giving you a bit of breathing space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Um, I'm conscious of time as well because I've got plenty of time, but I'm conscious because I've got another one at 1:30. So, um, obviously you've had more releases like that Deeper Than Holy EP, and then 2022 you had the new EP Isaiah EP, and most of these songs actually form the album that's coming out. So when you were writing the album, what was the kind of was there any was there any kind of thoughts of recording all new songs, or did you want to kind of release all the stuff that you had previously as an actual album?
No, so we've got two songs from the first EP
Hmm.
and two songs from the second EP, and then six new ones, I think.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like it's only four. The majority of it is new songs, which is obviously something we wanted to do. But
Right.
also, I think it being your first album, the the majority of our fan base fallen in love with us because of those first songs. So we kind of thought for them to buy our first album and it not to have Deeper Than Holy on it, or it not to have Isaiah on it, or the song that like we couldn't have them all. We couldn't have all eight songs on and then just put two. It was a conversation that we went back and forth over, but in the end we said if we just take two from one, two from the other,
Hmm.
and then six new ones, that's a good balance of meeting in the middle, I think.
Hmm. Obviously, like we touched on Deeper Than Holy, and I said about 100 streams. It's up there, but it's close to like 750 now.
Is it?
But he played open Nebworth for Liam Gallagher.
Yeah.
Um, and he was a big fan, wasn't he? For what I've heard, he was
Yeah.
kind of already into you. So how was that kind of playing that gig, it's such an early part of your career to be kind of on a bill like that. How massive was that, and how was it kind of interacting with William?
I mean, I think almost, the fact that it was so early on in our career, half made it easier because you've got less. What's the word? Is like because you're so young and stuff. You just full. You're fearless.
Yeah, yeah, you get that cockiness and kind of you're meant to be there,
Yeah.
which that's how he was when he was starting it. So when he sees that, he must kind of respect it as well.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, and yeah, we just kind of walked on, and I always say this. It's like I said to the boys. I said no one's allowed to be nervous. I said because when we set out and we worked so hard, the plan was never to be playing the dog and duck for the next 10 years. The plan was, I mean, to be honest with you, the plan wasn't to be playing fucking Nebworth. I'll tell you that for nothing. But
Yeah.
it was always like, the plan was always bigger, than sort of playing in the same local pubs. So I was like, this is what we set out to do. So you can't be nervous about it.
And like after that, like obviously, so you're plenty 80,000 people. After that, like in the weeks kind of afterwards, did you kind of notice like a noticeable spike when you're streaming and your
Yeah, a little bit.
socials
Yeah,
and
it
all that?
wasn't like, yeah, we did. But one thing that still, for me, the important thing was I never wanted it to be like an initial spike and then like that was it. What I love now is even though it's 2, 3 years later or whatever it is, we'll be out somewhere like at a gig and someone will come up to us and they say, "Oh, I seen you at Nebworth. The first time I seen you was at Nebworth,"
Mm-hmm.
and they're still following us. That's the important thing. If there's gonna be a lot of people there that are gonna search you up,
Yeah.
but then you want them people to to stay, which it seems like they have, which is good.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing with something like Liam Gallagher as well. You've got the young team going to it, but then you've got all the people that have been there for the start. So you've got a lot of older heads that if they kind of search you up and get into you, they're going to kind of stick with you. Um, for then on. I mean,
Exactly.
that's kind of similar to me. Like, what if I go to a gig, I always go and see the support, and if they're any good, to get a follow straight away. Even to certain extents, I went to see Paul Heaton um just before Christmas,
Love him.
and the Zootons were supporting, which I've always kind of liked the
Yeah.
Zootons, but kind of I've never been to see the Zootons again, and mid set they were talking how they're playing the Barrowlands next year, and they hadn't finished their set, and I was on their boat tickets because they were that good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so I stuff like that. See if you got people that are right into gigs and they've gone and they've seen. I would have. I'd have been searching you up while you were playing your set that date, Nedworth. So I
Yeah.
if you got
Nice one.
80,000 people like me following you, then you're onto something. Um.
Yeah.
So and from that as well, like some of your later stuff as well, Your Day, which is that on the album as well? I think it is.
Yeah. That was the
Um,
first single off the album.
so that got ended up getting a remix for Andy Bell,
Yeah.
another Oasis kind of another guy for Oasis. So how how does that come about then? Kind of getting a remix for something like that, and what's the conversation that goes into it?
He was a big fan of Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think he tweeted about it. He made at the end, whatever year Isaiah was released, he at the end of the year he made like a list of like his top 10 or whatever songs of
Mm-hmm.
that year, and that was in there. So I think it was from there, and then I think maybe Jay must have messaged him and was like, "Look," because he'd done a couple. I think he'd retweeted a couple of things maybe before, so like we knew he was kind of knocking about. And then when he did that with Isaiah and he shared it and stuff, we were like, oh, let's see if he's because and then he started doing remixes then with his
Mhm.
side project. So we just asked him and he was up for it.
So, so that was 2023. That kind of remix came out. So then, into into 2024, obviously things are getting ramped up for the album. Um, you released February, July, and October. You released deeper, dancing in a pin. Then you done a deeper than holy radio edit, and then in October, leave a light on Velvet Storm.
Yeah,
Um, gig wise, you done headline gigs, and you took Liam's Liam's son's band, Gene Villanelle. You took them on tour with you.
yeah,
Cracking band again. I've seen them supporting Liam, and they're probably the kind of the ones underneath you that are coming up to kind of they'll be the next ones after yourself.
yeah,
As well as that festival wise, you played Transmat.
yeah. Probably
How
my
was
favourite
it? How
festival
was
I've
it
ever
playing
played that.
Transmat? I know it was at River Stage.
Yeah,
Um, but if you kind of fill that stage because of where it is, it's you get some falling down at that wee bit.
yeah. Well, with that one, we were playing at the same time as the Snuts,
Mm-hmm.
who obviously in Scotland are huge.
Yeah,
And when we were driving up and I was like, oh, why have they put us on at the same time as them? Like that's because a lot of their fan base, I assume, might be
yeah.
into us.
I'm a big Snatch fan.
Yeah.
Actually, it would have been a bit of a quandary
So
for me.
so I was like, oh fuck. And I was just thinking like this is gonna be shit. Why can't they put us on at the same time as if we was on the same time as the Sugar Babes or something, right? We'd have
Hmm.
been laughing. I was really gutted about it. And then we walked on stage and it was full and loads of pastel t-shirts, which at festivals you never not we've not played loads of festivals to be honest with you, but we've played a few and you kind of it's not like your own gig where everybody's there to see you. There's a lot of people there that might not even be that arsed, but the fact that we walked out and it was full and there was loads of pastel t-shirts on, it was
But
like, oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure that I didn't go to Transmit that year, but I think the band went. I'm pretty sure a couple of the band went, and I'm pretty sure they came to see you rather than the Snuts.
Oh,
Um,
is it? Oh,
I
nice
said,
one.
I'll pass that. I'll ask Kerr about it when I see him the day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they swear the Snuts. So
Yeah. And
I'm thinking again.
it filled up and then I think in terms of the way the timings were, I
Hmm.
think they obviously started before us, but then we had sort of two songs after they'd finished. So by the last two songs, it was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So you played Tuts as well. You played Transmit, and then you ended up you get a support for Feeder playing the Barrowlands as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
again, how is that? I mean, that's iconic, an iconic venue.
That's
How was
probably
playing that?
I think for me, that's one of the most iconic venues in the country, in it,
Mm.
Barrowlands. You
Never,
know,
never seen a bad gig in it.
yeah, yeah. I remember when we got there, we walked in, and to see it empty, it's just like you're looking around and like looking up, and you're just thinking, this is fantastic. This
Yeah,
proper, there's a proper venue.
it's. I mean, I, I don't even know how many gigs I've been. I'd probably say close to 200 gigs in there. Maybe
Wow.
I've probably been chucked out at least 100 of them. Um, I used to go and see the Libertines and Pete Doherty, that. Never seen a full gig. The same with the
Yeah,
View,
yeah.
chucked down the back stairs and all that. But it's some character. So it'd been an absolute pleasure to play there. Like to play Tuts, Transmit, and then the Barrowlands, man. You've ticked everything off. That's you completed Scotland.
We're not coming back now.
And then towards the end of the year, you supported the Twang. You went out and done tour support for them.
Yeah.
So how was that? Kind of getting out with like a big band and playing kind of a lot bigger venues again?
That was one of the highlights of the year for me. Just because one, we were already fans of the Twang anyway. So to go on tour with a band that you like is one thing. But then to actually go out with it and like, like after the gigs and stuff and we'd be having a drink and we were best mates. Do you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like they'd come into our dressing room and be like, just sit themselves down and bring a lot of beers in and we'd like, it was just amazing. Obviously, to play the gigs and obviously grow the fan base, that's the main thing. But then the cherry on the top was to be sat in there having a drink with them and you could just
Yeah.
ask them questions, get advice off them, and they were just amazing lads, honestly, all of them.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. There's so much that you can learn for these things. That's the thing. Like every day you're doing new experiences and it's
Yeah.
just you learn for that. Can you hear my dog yawning there?
I thought it was my
Um,
belly.
so, so new album out this Friday. It's called Souls in Motion.
Yeah.
Um, and then you get a tour kind of supporting it coming in February. So for anybody that kind of that isn't a fan of Pastel or hasn't heard these, how would you kind of describe the album and how would you sell that to people?
It sounds like someone once described us as scallydelia. So
Right.
it's psychedelic, but we're all a bunch of scallywags.
Hmm.
That's how I describe it. I'm very proud of the album. I think it's beautiful. I'm quite proud of it. Um, it's there's no reinventing of the wheel on there. It's just good songs with a good sound, which for me, that's what music's about. I don't. There's no gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like solid tunes.
You can hear kind of influences on it. Um, like it sounds like early Verve at times. It's got the Charlatan sound, it's got the Roses sound, um, but not to the point where it's getting ripped off. Like I was listening to it, I've been listening to the album the last couple of weeks, and I'd probably say, when you get these bands that like the Roses and they sound like the Roses, but they sound like they're ripping off the Roses.
Yeah.
You sound like these are the songs that the Roses should have brought out when they came back, and they
Oh,
never.
thank you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's an absolutely brilliant album. It all fits together so well. Um, I can't wait for it to come out and for everybody else to hear it. And you're touring February, Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Aberdeen. You're back in Aberdeen, back in Glasgow for Tuts, Bristol, Birmingham, and London. So I'll put a link up for the album. I'll put a link up for the tour tickets for people to buy it. But
Oh, nice one. Thank
all the
you.
best for the album. It's you're going to smash it. The last bit of the podcast, obviously, it's called Time for Heroes. I did say to you at the start. Um, 4 guests to come for dinner. Why they're your heroes and what would you cook for them? They can be dead or alive. They don't need to be musicians. They can be whoever you consider heroes.
Right. Okay. The first one will be Mick Ed from Shaq. You know, when I
Mhm.
told the story before, that's one. Um, the second one is probably Bruce Lee, just because I think he's got a lot. When you look at someone who glides around the room,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? He's a cool fucker. Him, he's just for his whole aura.
There's
I
so
think you
many
need,
Manchester people into Bruce Lee.
yeah. It comes from my dad and Jack's dad always used to like ram it down my throat when I was dead young, and now I love him. Just the
Mhm.
way he moves, like I've never done anything like that in terms of like karate or anything ever. I know what I want to, but I'd love to be able to move the way he does.
Yeah.
You know, like put that on stage or something. Um, I think you need someone funny there, so I'll put Peter Kay there. He just makes me laugh. Like
Yeah.
Phoenix Nights, ever watch that?
I think that was on loop in my kind of adolescent years. That was like on loop for like 2 or 3 years constantly.
Yeah,
Stuff.
genius. That is genius. And then I'd probably pick Jack just because if I'm going to be sat around with those three people, I'd want him to be there as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And what would you cook? That's basically to see how good a cook you are and whether you can cook.
I'm all right at cooking. Good question, that. I'd probably do something that took all day. Like put like a nice beef joint in the oven,
In the
but
slow
cook it
cooker.
really low and get the juices from it. Maybe like some sort of beef, I think, but like one that took at least 24 hours to cook. And when you cut it open and it's still nice and pink inside.
Oh, aye.
Something like that. I'd have to think about. I've not thought about what I'd cook yet, but I'd cook them something good.
I never thought about this, about asking these questions. See, when I'm just up, I've just got up half a night shift. I've fed the dogs. I've not had anything to eat myself, and then I'm asking people that, and that's me starving now. I'll need to make a beef joint for dinner. An absolute pleasure having you on the day. As I say, albums out this Friday, January the 17th. Souls in Motion by Pastel. Everybody that's listening, get on it right away. Class band. But absolute pleasure having you on the day.
Cheers, mate. Much
Thank you very
appreciated.
much.
Enjoyed that.
Cheers.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod at gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.